Taking a look at Bitcoin on the daily chart, if you look here, you can see we're relatively far away from the EMA ribbon here. If we take a price range from the price action where we are currently to the bottom ribbon, we are 18% away. From the top ribbon, we're around 41%. You can see in the past when we do come pretty far below the EMA ribbon here, we do have somewhat of a rally. Now, whether this rally will break the EMA ribbon to the upside, we'll just have to see. But we should expect somewhat of a push to the upside here. This also looks like it's going to be somewhat of a V bottom. Now, whether this V bottom again pushes us above the EMA ribbon or stops out short, we'll just have to see. But I do believe that we're going to see a bounce here in the next couple days. We zoom in here a little bit on the daily. You can see this green candle right here is bullish engulfing. It is engulfing this red candle. Usually this means that we're going to have an uptrend forming. You can see the RSI on the daily has been oversold for quite some time, so we should see a push up from here. You can also see on the weekly chart here, we're also in the oversold territory on the RSI, and I believe this is a historical low for the weekly. So again, we should see somewhat of a push up from here. We could very well continue to move further down, but in my opinion, we don't have much further to go down before we see somewhat of a relief rally. On the weekly, you can see we are very far away from the EMA ribbon as well as the Ichimoku cloud here. So again, we usually don't stay this far away from the EMA ribbon or the Ichimoku cloud really before we have some type of a move up, or in the opposite case down, as you can see here. Taking a look at the 200 moving average, which is this blue line here, you can see we have closed below it, which is okay for now. We really need to come back here and start trading above it, or at least close above it within maybe the next week or so. As you can see back here, we did close below the 200 weekly. Let me turn off the EMA ribbon real quick. You can see we did close below the 200 weekly here, and the next week we managed to close back above it, and then we had a rally. So we can do something similar to this right here, and you can actually see we're getting somewhat of a similar market structure. We have a pretty nice wick to the downside, relatively large red candlestick, and it looks like we're trying to form a green candlestick as of right now. The weekly candle has 5 days until it closes, so we'll just have to see what happens then. But as of right now, it does look something similar to this. Now that being said, I'd be very cautious because if we do come down here like we are and retest the 200 EMA as resistance instead of closing above it, especially if we retest this as resistance and set a lower low from this wick right here, this would be a very bad sign in my opinion. If something like this happens, we could easily go down to some of the low teens that people are talking about. Quick shout out to the 4-day chart. You can actually see that it looks like we're forming a bullish hammer here. The 4-day candle closes here in 58 minutes. You can see that the wick to the downside we've had here is around 15%, so pretty substantial for Bitcoin. So this also helps back up the theory that we should see a bounce relatively soon. If you hop down to the 4-hourly chart, you can see where we're in this downtrend for a little bit here. We've had 3 confirmed touches of it on both sides of the channel, and we did have a confirmed breakout right here. It looks like we're coming back down to potentially retest this as support and find a further move up. You can see we do have the Ichimoku cloud sitting above us right around 23k. The Ichimoku cloud is relatively thin right here, so that's a good sign, especially if we can have a pretty strong rally into it relatively soon. If we do, we could come all the way up to say 26k before we find a rejection at the top of the Ichimoku cloud. The 204-hourly EMA will probably be down within this area at that point. Looking at the EMA ribbon on the 4-hourly, it looks like we have moved into it pretty substantially. We've had multiple tests of it throughout the past couple days. This is actually a really good sign in my opinion. We are slowly grinding away to it to the upside, and the more often we test these levels of support or resistance, the more likely we are to break them. If we hop down on the hourly, things are actually looking a little bit better here. You can see we have broken above the EMA ribbon here and turned it green. We have been using it as support, and we have broken above the Ichimoku cloud. We broke above the 200 simple moving average here, only to get rejected by the 200 EMA, but it looks like we are trying to find support back at the EMA ribbon again, as well as the 200 simple moving average. So if we can start chipping away at this 200 EMA here, we could very well break it to the upside. If we draw a fib retracement from this low to this high, you can see we had a pretty decent test of the 1618 here, found some support. Currently we have moved down to the 2618, and it looks like we're currently finding support again. So a move to the 1618 is definitely on the table in my opinion. Again, that $26,000 to $23,000 level. So some things up here, it does look like we are experiencing somewhat of a V bottom here. Now whether this is temporary or we start a new bull run from here, we'll just have to find out. We'll likely see a move back to the 1618, which is sitting around 26k, and depending how strong this move is, we could see a move all the way up to this previous box of support, which is sitting around 30,000. If we do come up here, we're likely to find some resistance. So if we do find a rejection out of here, I'd like to hold the 1618 to the upside and find a new higher high and a higher low from here. So that way we can be in an uptrend. If we can't manage to hold the 2618 to the upside, if we come down here a little bit, you can see our next stop is at the 3618, which is sitting around 11 to 12k, which is really where most people are saying that we're probably going to find a bottom at, which is sitting around these previous highs here. As you can see, these highs as well as these highs. Looking at the fear and greed index, we've been at single digits for a few days here and below the 20 level for quite some time. So we should see a rally relatively soon out of here. So this is all I have for Bitcoin today. If you enjoyed this video, go to the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, go and do so. If you'd like to join the Discord, I'll post the link to it in the description below. As always, this is not financial advice. I'll see you in the next one.